how good it is to be together.
Chatima Tova, everyone. Never did we expect to be bringing in the most solemn, the most hard and challenging day of our Jewish year like this, in a room with just 3 wonderful musicians and people keeping us safe. We can see you on the screen in front of us, and it is the thing that gives us life and keeps us going and helps us to sing with joy even when we are not with you physically. So if you feel comfortable doing so, please do put your cameras on so that we can engage with you and see your smiling faces smiling back at us. And please feel free to sing along. We can see you singing along with us and it helps us feel comfortable singing. And please feel free to dance with us and pray with us in whatever way you feel comfortable. We are going to start our service on page 3 with the words of Moda Ani. I thank you, living and eternal God, for you have returned my soul to me in kindness.
Moda Ani lefanecha, Moda Ani lefanecha, Moda Ani lefanecha, Melech Chai v'Kayam. Moda Ani lefanecha, Moda Ani lefanecha, Moda Ani lefanecha, Melech Chai v'Kayam. Shechesarta bi nishmati v'chemla rama emunatecha. Shechesarta bi nishmati v'chemla rama emunatecha. Moda ani lefanecha, Moda ani lefanecha, Moda ani lefanecha, Melech Chai v'Kayam.
And God spoke to Moses, saying, the 10th day of this month is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. It shall be a holy day for you. You shall make sure that today you live very simply and do not have treats. You shall do no work throughout the day, for it is a day of atonement, on which you shall say sorry before Adonai, your God.
Israel,
Yom Kippur is a day of thinking and remembering. Yom Kippur is a day to remember how we acted this past year. Yom Kippur gives us an opportunity to think about how we could have done a little better. Yom Kippur is a day to think about who we want to be this new year. Yom Kippur gives us an opportunity to say, I am sorry, and start over again. As we begin our service today, we ask God to listen carefully to our apologies, our prayers, and our promises for the new year. We move into Berchot HaShachar, our morning blessings. We're going to chant together in Hebrew on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani kirtzono. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Mabish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzvotei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'ayef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir sheina me'enai utnuma me'afapai. After waking up our bodies and our souls, the next thing we need to do is wake up our brains. And we're going to do that by studying something together. So we're all going to say the blessing for study together, and then we're going to hand over to Mike, who is going to lead us in our study passage this morning. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
If you say, I will do wrong and say sorry, then I will do wrong again and say sorry. You will not have enough power to say sorry. If you say, I will do wrong, and the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, will make things okay, Yom Kippur will not make things okay. Wrongs that are between a person and God, Yom Kippur will make things okay. Wrongs that are between a person and another person, Yom Kippur will not make things okay until that person has made things all right with the other person.
Kol haolam kulo geshet sar mehod, geshet sar mehod, geshet sar mehod, kol haolam kulo geshet sar mehod, geshet sar mehod. V'haika, v'haika, lo lefachet, lo lefachet klal. V'haika, v'haika, lo lefachet klal. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. All the world's a very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge. All the world's a very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge. But the main thing to recall is to have no fear at all. But the main thing to recall is to have no fear at all. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, lie, lie. Lie, 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 lie. We continue praising God with all of our instruments, and if you have instruments at home, feel free to play them along with us. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
הנשמה תהליה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהליה,
It is so joyful to see you play along with us. I saw guitars, I saw a flute, I saw maracas, and the things that you're doing, the joy that you're bringing to us in this moment as you play your musical instruments with us, just helps us to feel like you're in this room with us, bringing music. And so we're going to rise together as we turn to our Baruchu and continue playing and singing together.
כולם בחוכמה עשית, כולם בחוכמה עשית, כולם בחוכמה עשית, Marabu,
God's love stretches from top to bottom. It stretches and grows and melds, the beginning and end. God's love reaches from start to finish. It reaches and spreads, forgetting just where it began. God's love teaches with stories and laws and rules and prayers. It teaches us best how to live. In love, we listen. We too can stretch. We too can reach. And we too can teach. And we seek the new year ahead. Wrap us up in your peace like a great big talit. Hold us close with this prayer in your love.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. We are about to move into the Shema, our prayer all about listening. And before we do that, we're going to need your help with something. In the Torah service, we are going to have some breakout options, some spaces for you to go and do something that you might find a little bit more interesting. We know that sitting in front of a screen for a long time can feel really hard. And so in our breakout spaces, you'll have the chance to do some activities and have a different environment for a while. So in order for us to get you into those breakout rooms, we're going to ask that you change your name to put the letter of what you want to do in front of your name. So we have 5 different options. If you want to do arts and crafts with Sophie Langsford, then put an A in front of your name. If you want to do body and meditation with Mike, then put a B in front of your name. If you want some challenges and games, then put a C in front of your name. If you want to do some drama, you fancy some acting, then put a D in front of your name. And if you want to stay in the Beit Tefillah, in the prayer with us, with me and Louis and Ben, then put an E in front of your name for Essential Torah. So there are 5 options. A for art, B for body and meditation, C for challenges and games, D for drama, and E for Essential Torah. If you don't put a letter in front of your name, then you'll stay with us here in the main service. Now that I've got all of you thinking and working out what you want to do, we are going to move into our Shema. Now I can see you on the screen, and I want you to point to the thing that you use to listen. What do you use to listen? I'm seeing lots of you point at these things on the side of your heads, your ears. Now, if your ears don't work properly, if you can't hear, what do you use to listen? I can see someone with their hand up. Go and show me. Point to what you use instead to listen. Your eyes. So for some people, they have to use their eyes to listen. Now, I have a room of lots of adults in front of me, and I'm saying to you, when you were naughty as a child, did your parents ever say to me, look at me whilst I'm talking to you? Yeah. So they're all nodding in agreement. And that's because sometimes when we look at someone, we pay the best attention. So what we're going to do is we're going to sing the Shema together, but we're first of all going to try and do it with no words, just with signing. We're just going to use our hands to pray the Shema. So we're going to learn the sign language together, and I know that some of you already know it. You're showing me on the screen. We did it it's our Big Bang tradition. We do it every Rosh Hashanah. But we're going to try and do it together. So we're going to put our hands up to our eyes. Shema, listen. Shema, listen. Yisrael, grow a big beard. Yisrael. Adonai, Eloheinu comes to your heart, is our God. Adonai, Echad is one. So we're going to have some gentle music, and we're going to sign the Shema together.
Let's try and add some words. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom lalevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'beitecha u'b'lachtecha v'derech u'b'shachbecha u'b'kumecha u'pshatam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'eineinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'hisharecha. The second paragraph of the Shema is all about thinking about how our actions affect others. And on Yom Kippur, we are made to think even more about how the things that we do affect other people. So instead of reading the second paragraph of the Shema to ourselves, we take some time to think, how can you be kind next year? Who do you know that might need some help? What can you do to be helpful? Vayomer Adonai el Moshe Lemo Daber el Bnei Yisrael va'amarta aleihem va'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei bigdeihem ledorotam v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf betil techelet v'haya lachem letzitzit uritem oto v'zachartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo tatiru acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem asher atem zonim achareihem למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי
Vitem kadoshim lalohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, Lihiot lachem l'Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem. During the holiest days of our year, we renew our promise to stand up for what is right. We will not stand with our feet frozen to the ground and our arms limp by our sides. We will not stay silent when our voice is needed. We will not hide. We will not walk away. When people are sad, we will comfort them. When people are mean, we will stop them. When someone is hungry, we will feed them. When someone is cold, we will find them shelter. When there are tears, we will dry them. When there are hopes, we will support them. We know how slavery and sadness feel. We renew our promise this day to not stand idly by when others are suffering. We renew our promise this day to bring all people into our song of freedom. We are about to begin our Amidah. Our Amidah, which is special for Yom Kippur, contains special moments of confession in it. And before we begin it, this is the very last thing we're going to do before we go into our breakout rooms. So if you have not already chosen where you want to be, I'm going to give you 5 options, and you can put the letter in front of your name for what you want to do. So if you want to do arts and crafts, put an A in front of your name. If you want to do body and meditation, put a B in front of your name. If you want to do challenges and games, put a C in front of your name. If you want to do some drama, then put a D in front of your name. And if you want to stay in the service, then put an E in front of your name. So you have a little bit of time to make your final decisions before we break out for our Torah service. Why are the High Holy Days all about standing and sitting? When I was a child, it didn't make much sense to me. My teachers taught me that God was everywhere. So wouldn't God see me if I was sitting down too? Surely God, the one who I knew was there to watch over me, wouldn't want my legs to hurt, would God? But as I grew older
and life began to present more challenges to me. I came to depend on God more. As tough situations came into my life as a teenager, I was often seeking answers to questions that it seemed like no one could answer for me. And soon I realized that when I wanted those answers, I had to reach out and find hints from God in my life. I came to realize that perhaps God doesn't need us to stand up and pray, but perhaps we need to stand up to reach out and find God's presence in our lives. As we continue with the tefillah, or the section known as the Amidah, or standing section of our prayer service, let us take a moment to think of the times when we feel a need to stand taller to find a connection with God.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Konei HaKol V'zocheh Chasdei Avot V'imahot Umevi Goel Livnei B'neihem Lama'an Shemo B'Yahava Zochreinu L'chaim Melech Hafetz B'chaim V'chot V'enu B'sefer HaChayim L'ma'anecha Elohim Chayim Melech Hoseh u'Moshiach u'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Pokei Tzara Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayim Eitim Atah Rav L'Hoshia Mohorit Atav Mechakel Chayim B'Chesed Mechayim Eitim B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofech Olim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishanei Ava Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umidom Melach Melech Meni
Mi chamocha av harachamim, zoche yitzurav lechachayim barachamim. V'ne'eman ata lahachayot metiv, v'haruch ata Adonai, mechayei hametim. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelu chasena. Baruch ata Adonai, HaMelech HaKadosh. At this point in our Amidah, we say a big thank you to God. So we take some time to think now. What are you thankful for? Do you always say please and thank you? How can you show the people that you love that you are thankful for them? Grant us peace, goodness and blessing, life, grace and kindness, justice and mercy. Source of our life, bless us all together with the light of your presence. For in the light of your presence, you give us, our living God, law and life, love and kindness, justice and mercy, blessing and peace. And in your eyes it is good to bless your people Israel with great strength to make peace. Blessed are you, God, blessing your people Israel with peace. On Yom Kippur, we ask forgiveness, not just for what each of us has done, but for what everyone has done. As we move into our first confession today, let's read together. For the wrongs we have done, we are sorry. For every time we lied, we are sorry. For every time we cheated, we are sorry. For every time we played unfairly, we are sorry. For every time we were mean and spiteful, we are sorry. For every time we hurt the feelings of others, we are sorry. For every time we were cruel to animals, we are sorry. For every time we did not help when we could have, we are sorry. For every time we made our parents, our children, our families sad, we are sorry. For every time we failed to stay true to ourselves, we are sorry. For every time we did not forgive someone who apologized, we are sorry. For every time we were more afraid of what our friends thought of us than what God thought of us, we are sorry. Ve'al kulam Eloah selichut salach lanu mechal lanu kapel lanu. For all these wrongdoings, O God of mercy, forgive us, pardon us, and grant us atonement. We take some time for silent confession. There's a passage on page 19 of your books that you can read to your child, or why not share something that you are sorry for? Maybe you could write it down on a piece of paper and then we can throw it away, casting away our sins. Maybe you could whisper it in someone's ear. We just take a moment to think of the things that we are sorry for.
shalom bimama. Huya asay shalom aleinu. Asay shalom bimama. Huya asay shalom aleinu.
Asay shalom birona, Yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
So we are now breaking into our special breakout rooms. So as we wave everyone goodbye, we will see you again in half an hour after you've done lots of fun activities. And for those of you staying in here, we're just going to take a couple of moments whilst we let everyone leave us. Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you soon.
Some intermission music. Anything of your choice? Just a little bit of elevator music.
Oh, and you can do elevator music.
Not under this kind of pressure.
Just do anything. You can do anything.
Do some flamenco.
Through Sandstorm.
Seeing a couple of people that have not gone to their breakout. You might need to click a little button on your screen if you wanted to go to arts and crafts. You might need to accept the breakout room. Can we check that some people have been assigned to the breakout room of their design? How long am I gonna have to keep doing this?
I'm enjoying the
Maybe I should go into a new business. think we've done
We
it.
should be snapping towards each other.
Hey. Sorry for the interlude, everybody. We hope you enjoyed some improv on our side. These things never run quite as smoothly as we hope. We are on page 20. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udava Adonai mirushalayim, baruch shenatan Torah, le'amol Yisrael b'kedushato. For Torah shall come out of Zion, and the word of God from Jerusalem. Blessed is the one who in holiness gave Torah to Israel. On Yom Kippur and on Rosh Hashanah, we say these special words in our Torah service that we're about to sing. And these special words tell us about the holiness of God and all of God's good bits. On Yom Kippur, some of us might feel a little bit scared. The book of life is open. We have a very, very different perspective on the world. And so we say these words, we appeal to God's compassion and mercy. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Noseh Chesed La'alafim, Noseh Avon V'Pesha V'Chata V'Nakeh. And having appealed to God's mercy and God's compassion, we pick up our Torah scroll that's in front of us and process it before we prepare to read Torah together. Ifdu et Adonai b'simcha. Lefana pina na 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 na. Ifdu simcha simcha simcha. Bow bow bow. Na 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 na. Ki al melech gadol Adonai. Ki al melech gadol Adonai. The bit of Torah we're reading today is right at the very center. And so although we are going to read it from a sheet, as we are not a technical minyan today, we're not going to read from the Torah itself. I want to show you where we are in Torah. This is a very, very central bit of our Torah. Now, as I get the Torah out of its cover, its special white cover dressed for the High Holy Days, just like we dress in white. We are going to raise the Torah together and show you exactly where we are. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael. Turn and face them. Torah tzivat lanu Moshe, morasha kehilat Yaakov, ha'el tamim darko, imrat Adonai tzerufa, magen hu lachol hachosim bo. And I'm going to be very mean to Ben, but Ben, can you turn your back to the camera
so that they can see in the Torah. Now, from a safe distance, I'm going to show you. How are you doing? Heaviness-wise, fine?
Easy.
You can see, Ben's not even got a sweat on.
Easy.
We are right in this middle column here. Now, these two sides of Torah are exactly the same width. Because right in our very, very center of the Torah, right here, in this very, very middle bit here, says, love your neighbor as yourself. The very, very middle bit of our Torah is the most important rule we have in Judaism. Love your neighbor as yourself. You can put it down now if you want.
We'll be here all day.
Ben is like not flinching. He could have just stayed there.
Right?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
God.
Yasher koach, well done. Now, there's a story in our Talmud, in that book that explains what happens in the Torah. And in that book, in that story in the Talmud, it says, someone goes to see Rabbi Hillel, and he says, I will convert to Judaism if you can tell me the entirety of the Torah standing on one leg. And Rabbi Hillel looks at him and he says, easy, I can tell you the whole Torah on one leg. And he stands on one leg. I'm going to do it now. I'm wearing high heels. Even I can do it in my high heels. And he says, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. That is the entire Torah. The rest is commentary. Now go and study. Now, that is the very central part of our Torah, the very middle, as you saw just now as Ben lifted it up. And the reason that that is our very central part of Torah is because it is the most important thing we can do, is to be kind and loving to others. So we are going to read that special bit that we read on Yom Kippur, known as our Holiness Code. It teaches us how to be the best versions of ourselves that we can possibly be, the best us in our world. And then we're going to read a story about someone who tried very hard to learn how to be the best versions of themselves. So we are going to bless the Torah together. We are on page 21 if you want to follow us. Baruch hu et Adonai ha-mevorach. Baruch Adonai ha-mevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah. Amen. So we are reading from that Holiness Code together, where it says, Lo tignovu, v'lo tachachashu, v'lo tashkaru, ish ba'amito. V'lo tachachashu, v'lo tishkaru. I've read that this again. V'lo tishva'u, v'lo vishmehi l'shakeh, v'chilalta et shem Elohecha ani Adonai. Lo ta'asok et ra'echa v'lo tigzol, lo talin fulat ha'shachir itcha ad boker. Lo tekalel cheresh v'lifnei zeh lo titen michshol v'yereshta me'elohecha ani Adonai. Lo ta'asu avel b'mishpat lo tisah p'nei tzahal v'lo tehada p'nei gadol. Bat tzedek tishpot amitecha, lo telech rachil ba'amecha, lo ta'amod al damre'echa, ani Adonai. Lo tisna et achicha bilvavecha,
הוכיח תוכיח את עמיתך, ולא תישא עליו חטא. לא תיקם ולא תיטור את בני עמך, ואהבת לרעך כמוך, אני אדוני. And that is that very special bit of our Torah, that bit that says, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am God. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. So that piece of Torah teaches us how to be the best versions of ourselves. It tells us things like not insulting the deaf or placing a stumbling block in front of the blind. It tells us to be fair. It tells us not to judge people unkindly. It tells us not to profit by hurting another. And most importantly, it tells us to love our neighbor as ourselves. Now, sometimes it's hard to admit when we are doing things wrong or when we might be not as good as we want to be. And I'm going to tell you a story now. We're going to reach into your screens and take them over, as I tell you a story about someone who found it quite hard to be the best versions of themselves. Taking just a moment. There we go. A long, long time ago, the world had many large and fabulous creatures. One of these creatures was a gigantic yellow bird with dark red wings and a purple forehead. He was called the Ziz. The Ziz was so huge that when he spread out his wings, he blocked the sun, as if he were a dark rain cloud. Every time he flew over a town, all the mothers would call to their children, "Come inside quickly before it rains." This made the big Ziz sad. He loved children, and he didn't want to spoil their playtime. So the Ziz started flying around at night, when no one would notice that he made the sky dark with his gigantic wings. That worked fine for a while. Then one night, the big Ziz flew too high and bumped into a star. Sizzle, snap, bang! The star fell out of the sky and down to earth. It burned a big hole in the ground. The next morning, when the Ziz saw the big hole, he was worried. "What can I do to cover this hole?" he asked himself. He thought about it for a while and came up with an idea. He stretched out his huge wings and went back up to the sky. This time, he knocked down a cloud. Plop! The cloud was full of rain, and it filled the big hole with water. Now the big hole was a lovely pond, perfect for swimming. All the children came running to the pond, screaming with delight. It was a hot, sunny day, and they had a wonderful time splashing and playing in the water. "The mistake is all fixed," the Ziz said. One day, however, the Ziz made a mistake he could not fix. It was the week before Yom Kippur. He was flying along, not watching where he was going, and he flew smack into the tallest pine tree in the world. Boom! The tree fell over and knocked over another tree. That tree knocked down another tree, and that tree fell on the vegetable garden behind the synagogue. Smash! Squash! Oops!
Oh no, the Ziz covered his eyes with his big wings. Not the vegetable garden. It belongs to the children. The Ziz uncovered his eyes and looked at the damage. The tomatoes, the corn, the pumpkins, the beans, the gourds, the squash. All the vegetables the children had worked so hard to plant were smashed to bits. I can't knock down a cloud to fix this, the Ziz cried. The Ziz flew home and sat on his own vegetable garden to think. He had watched the children plant their vegetable garden. Every year they harvested the fruits to decorate their sukkah. What would the children do this year? The Ziz spread out his big wings and flew off to have a chat with God. The Ziz had a special place where he liked to talk to God. It was Mount Sinai. The Ziz was so huge that when he stood on Mount Sinai, his purple feathered head reached right up to heaven. "What have you done this time?" God asked as soon as he saw the Ziz. This was not the first time the Ziz had come to Mount Sinai after making a mistake. "I knocked over a big tree. It knocked over another tree. The tree smashed the vegetable garden." "The children's garden?" God questioned. "Yes," the Ziz admitted, hanging his head. "That's a problem," God said. "I can't knock down a cloud and make this better." "No, you can't," God agreed. "What should I do?" "I want you to do something for me," God said. "Anything," the Ziz promised. "I want you to search the earth and bring back the hardest word." "The hardest word?" the Ziz questioned. "Yes," God answered. "Now go." The Ziz stretched his big wings and went off to search. He flew over mountains, he flew over trees, he flew over valleys, he flew over seas. Flap, flap, I'm the biggest bird. Flap, flap, searching for the hardest word. After searching the whole day, the Ziz stopped to rest at the edge of a forest. In a little house nearby, he heard a mother and a child arguing. "I don't want to go to bed," said the little boy. "You need your rest," the mother said. "I'm not tired," the little boy cried. "Good night," the mother said firmly, closing the door. "That's it," Ziz flapped his wings. "The hardest word, I found it." Ziz flew as fast as he could to Mount Sinai. With great excitement, he put his bird feet down on the top and poked his purple feathered head up into heaven. "I found it! I found the hardest word!" "What is it?" God said. "It's good night. Every child hates that word." Ziz did a dance right on top of Mount Sinai. He loved being right. "Good night is a hard word for children," God agreed. I knew it, Ziz danced. "But there is another word, even harder," God said. "There is?" Ziz slumped over, disappointed. "There is," God declared. "Go and find it." So the Ziz spread out his mighty wings and went off to search. He flew over mountains, he flew over trees, he flew over valleys, he flew over seas. Flap, flap, I'm the biggest bird. Flap, flap, searching for the hardest word. After searching all day, Ziz stopped at a big feast on the grounds of a castle. He listened. With so many people talking, he felt sure someone would say the hardest word. "I'm hungry," said the little girl to her mother. "May I have some biscotti, please?" The mother smiled. "Oh, you want spaghetti?" "That's it," the Ziz cried. "I've got it now." He spread out his big wings and flew back to Mount Sinai. He planted his bird feet on the mountaintop and poked his purple feathered head into heaven. "I know the hardest word," he sang. "What is it?" God asked. "It's spaghetti." Ziz hopped up and down on one foot. Standing still was hard, especially when he was this excited. "Spaghetti is a hard word to say," God agreed. "Didn't I tell you?" Ziz hopped some more. "But there is another word, an even harder word," God said.
is, Ziz slumped over disappointed. There is, God declared. Go out and find it. The Ziz stretched his big wings and went back out to search. He flew over mountains, he flew over trees, he flew over valleys, he flew over seas. Flap, flap, I'm the biggest bird. Flap, flap, searching for the hardest word. The Ziz searched for 3 more days. He brought back lots of words to Mount Sinai. Words like rock, rhinoceros, ridiculous, and Rumpelstiltskin. Each time, God sent the Ziz back to find another word. By the evening of Yom Kippur, the Ziz had brought over 100 words to Mount Sinai. God had not accepted any of them. The Ziz was discouraged. He had tried and tried. He flew back to Mount Sinai to have one more discussion with God. What word did you bring this time? God asked. No word, the Ziz said quietly. No word? God asked. No, the Ziz said sadly. I've come to say I'm sorry. I can't find the hardest word. You can't? God asked. No, the Ziz shook his head. I'm sorry. You're sorry? God asked. Yes. Ziz nodded his big purple head. I'm sorry. Good job, God said. You found the hardest word. I did. Now the Ziz was very confused. Yes, God said. The hardest word is sorry. While all the words you brought me were hard, sorry is the hardest. I always say I'm sorry on Yom Kippur, the Ziz said. Well, you should say it at other times too, God answered. Like when I smashed the garden, Ziz asked. That's right, God said. The Ziz thanked God and pulled his purple feathered head out of heaven. Then he spread out his big great wings and flew back to the children's garden. On the way, he stopped at his own garden and gathered a big basket of fruit and vegetables for the children. It was time to say the hardest word. So we read our lovely story about the Ziz and the fact that sometimes it can be really hard to say something that seems very easy to say, sorry. And I would like us all now to do some thinking. So if you have a piece of paper in front of you, I would like you to write on one side of that piece of paper the word yes, and on the other side of that piece of paper the word no. So we want a piece of paper with the word yes on one side and the word no on the other side. And we are going to have a little bit of a discussion. So I want you, and if you don't have a piece of paper, you can do thumbs up and thumbs down, actually. Thumbs up for yes, thumbs down for no. So I want you to answer me. Have you had to say sorry this year? Thumbs up, thumbs down, or yes or no? I am seeing lots of thumbs up. I'm seeing some yeses on my screen. Right, so we've had lots of people having to say sorry. When you had to say sorry to someone, was it hard for you to do? We've got some thumbs up, some yeses. Was it hard for you to do because you thought that you were right? Got some more yeses, definitely. Did the person you say sorry to forgive you? Oh, I've got lots of thumbs up. Were you forgiven? Yes. Oh, someone was not forgiven. That's really hard. Now, this is a hard question. After saying sorry, did you do the bad thing again? So the same thing that you did you do it again? Lots of no's. Some yeses, mostly no's. Did you feel like you learnt from your mistakes?
next year are you going to try to not do that thing that you were sorry for again? Got lots of yeses. This is good. Does anyone else have any questions to ask people? I am slimming down on my list. When you were sorry, did it make you feel sad? Did it make you feel sad to know that your friend or your family or whoever you had needed to say sorry to was upset? Did somebody say sorry to you when you were upset? Did it make you feel sad when your friend or your family didn't say sorry to you? So I'm going to ask some how questions now. So you can't necessarily hold up an answer to the screen. But if you want to answer the how question, you can wave at us and then we can, oh, we've got everybody rejoining us. So I'm going to ask you one how question, which is how can you make sure that you don't do the thing that you had to say sorry for again? And whilst you're thinking about that, we're going to sing together It Is a Tree of Life as other people return to us from their breakouts. Tree of life to those who hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree.
Hi everyone, I'm just speaking to Alyth and they have just said that they've lost sound for a moment and they're trying very hard to come back, so if everyone could be patient, and we'll be back to the service really soon. And they're trying their best to reconnect, so that's the update. maybe we could talk about what everyone did in their breakout rooms while we wait. I don't know if someone's here from every breakout room, but we can start with mine. So we were doing arts and crafts, and if anyone's still here, they want to hold up their example of what we made. So we made lovely family trees, and we talked about, you know, who we learn our like best behavior from, and we were talking about how our family often is.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, we're back. That's going so well.
But it shouldn't happen because you're plugged in, right?
Sorry, we're not hearing the right sound.
Rabbi Hannah, we still can't hear you. Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can they
now
hear
we
me?
can. Mm-hmm.
Can you put your thumbs up if you can hear me? Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, so we are back up. You've got a rabbi. It's all you need today. So we are going to carry on with our service. But first of all, I know some of you made some really cool stuff in your art room. So can I have a look at what you've made? Can you hold it up to the screen? Oh, incredible. Wow. Are they your trees of life? To those who hold fast to them and all who support them are happy. Amazing work, everyone. So carrying those words of Torah in our heart, those words of Torah that you all learned together, we are going to turn to our Musaf service, our preparation for the new year, which you can find on page 24. B'Rosh Hashanah yikatevun, u'v'yom Som Kippur yichatemun. On Rosh Hashanah, we consider how judgment is formed. On Yom Kippur, we consider how judgment is sealed. U'teshuva, u'tefillah, u'tzedakah, me'avirin et ragazera. Through return to the right path and through prayer, righteous giving, we can earn a new page in the book of life and write a better story in the new year. God is like a parent watching over us. God cares about what we do and the people we are trying to become. God sees us when we do our best and when we fall short. Sometimes scary things happen in our world, things that we cannot control, things that we do not understand. But there is a lot we can do to help others and start to heal the world. There are 3 important ways we can get through the difficult times and make things better. Teshuvah is turning back to God, turning back to doing what is right. We are not perfect. We are not our best. God wants us to apologize to those we have hurt and try better. Tefillah is prayer. When we feel sad or scared, we can talk to God. We can ask for wisdom and we may feel stronger. Tzedakah is doing what is fair, what is just. Sometimes we feel like the world is out of control, that the problems are very big, but we can do our part to help, to be partners with God and make the world a better place. We're moving on to our vidui, our confession. We've made mistakes, we've done bad things, but this is what the new year brings. A chance to change, a chance to grow, with one first step, nice and slow. Tap, tap, tap your heart. On Yom Kippur, it's time to restart. We've used bad words and hurt our friends, but these mistakes are not the end. We do teshuvah, we learn to do good, so we tap our heart to remind us we should. Tap, tap, tap your heart. On Yom Kippur, it's time to restart. We're about to take some time for silent confession. So I want you all to go and do something special for me. Can you go and find a mirror in your house? Something shiny, something reflective, anything you can look into, even some silver foil. So we're going to give you 1 minute to just go and find a mirror in your house.
Okay, so has everyone gone to get their mirror? Can I see your mirrors on the screen? Fantastic. Now, I want you to use that mirror and look into it. Silent confession is about thinking about who we are, looking at ourselves. So I want you to look at yourself in the mirror. When you look into it, what do you see? Do you see someone who is always helpful? Do you see someone who is always kind? Do you see someone who is thoughtful and caring? Has the person in your mirror changed since last year? Has the person in your mirror got taller? Has the person in your mirror got longer hair? As you've grown up over the past year, have you also become a nicer person? Have you also become someone who cares deeply about your friends and your family? Over the next year, is that person in the mirror going to work hard to be caring? Is that person in your mirror going to forgive others? Is that person in your mirror going to forgive yourself? We continue with our confession, our Ashamnu. And it's traditional when we chant this Ashamnu for you to tap your heart, for you to feel it in your body. And so, as we take our fists onto our heart, I'm going to chant one of the words, and then you're going to chant it back to me. Ashamnu,
Ashamnu,
Bagadnu,
Bagadnu,
Gazalnu,
Gazalnu,
Dibarnu Dofi,
Dibanu Dofi,
Havinu,
Avinu,
Vehirshanu,
Hishanu,
Zatnu,
Zadnu,
Chamasnu,
Chamasnu,
Tafalnu Shaker,
Tafalnu Shaker,
Ya'atsnu Ra,
Ya'atsura,
Kizavnu,
Kizavnu,
Latsnu,
La'atsnu,
Maratnu,
Maratnu,
Ni'atsnu,
Niyatsnu,
Sararnu,
Saranu,
Avinu,
Avinu,
Pashanu,
Ashanu,
Sararnu,
Saranu,
Kishinu Oref,
Kishinu Oref,
Rashanu,
Rashanu,
Shichatnu,
Shichatnu,
Tiavnu,
Tiavnu,
Ta'inu,
Tainu,
Titanu.
Titanu.
Ashamnu, we have acted without thinking. Bagadnu, we have been bystanders to bullying. Gazalnu, we have been careless with other people's things. Dibarnu Dofi, we have done harm with our words. He'avinu, we have erred by not acting ethically. Hirshanu, we have forgotten who we are. Zadnu, we have grossly misjudged others.
Chamasnu, we have acted out of hatred. Tefalnu sheker, we have ignored the truth. Ya'atznu ra, we have used poor judgment. Kizavnu, we have said things we know to be untrue. Latznu, we have laughed at people, not with them. Maradnu, we have made enemies instead of friends. Ni'atznu, we have taken the name of God in vain. Tsararnu, we have overwhelmed our parents and teachers. Avinu, we have put down other people's accomplishments. Pashanu, we have quit too soon. Tsararnu, we have disrespected the rights of others. Kishinu oreth, we have been stubborn and stiff-necked. Rashanu, we have tolerated cruelty. Shichatnu, we have not stood up for what we believe in. Tiavnu, we have violated our values. Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha Avinu Malkeinu Elanu Melech Zulatecha Avinu Malkeinu Avinu Malkeinu Aseh Imanu Laman Shamecha Avinu Malkeinu Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova Avinu Malkeinu Avinu Malkeinu Avinu Malkeinu Chodenu v'anenu ki ein banu ma'asim Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshienu Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshienu Avinu Malkeinu Avinu Malkeinu. We rise together to conclude our service with the words of the Atideinu. Aleinu לשבח לטון הכל, לתת גדולה להיות בראשית, אשר בקע בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל מחשבותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד.
והשב אותה
והשב אותה
אל לבביך,
אל לבביך,
כי אדוני
כי אדוני
הוא האלוהים,
הוא האלוהים,
והשב אותה
והשב אותה
אל לבביך,
אל לבביך,
כי אדוני
כי אדוני
הוא האלוהים,
הוא האלוהים, ונאמר,
היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ,
ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד. I miss you today. Today families come together. And so today I miss you more than I normally do. I thought about you when we sang that prayer that you loved, and I remembered how you used to share your talit with me when I got cold. I thought about the way that you always whispered something funny and made me laugh when I was supposed to be quiet. I felt nervous as the service ended because I knew that I would need to stand up for this prayer, and I didn't know if I could do it without crying. I hope you know that even as I tried to say the words of the Kaddish, what I'm really saying is that I miss you today and that I love you always. We take a moment to think about all of those people who we love and miss and who are not going to be with us to break our fast. Together, as a community of mourners, we turn to the words of the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chaye dichol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman karev v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach leolam u'lamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitale v'yitalal, shemedi kudesha berichu, le'ela le'ela, mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, diamiram ba'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom,
Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru. Amen. Before we conclude our service with the words of Adon Olam, I have a couple of thank yous that I really want to say on this day. So thank you to everyone who ran a breakout today. Thank you to Sophie and to Tash and to the other Sophie and to Mike for leading those breakouts and giving people inspiration and ways to relate to this service. And a very, very large thank you. Words cannot thank enough the people sitting to the right of me, Louis and Ben, for bringing music to our service, for creating atmosphere in this room when it could have been so hard to do so. The two of you have lifted us up on this morning. Thank you also to Alex, who is doing all the behind the scenes work, keeping our sound and our computers running, and who saved us actually when things broke. And thank you to everyone else who is keeping us safe on this call. We are so grateful to everybody. We are going to turn to the words of Adon Olam and sing together as we conclude our service this morning. Adon Olam, Hashem alach, v'terem kol yetzir nivra. Adon Olam, le'ed nasa, k'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra. Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem alach, kol yetzir nivra. Adon Olam, le'ed nasa, k'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra. Adon Olam, ve'acharei kichlot hakol, levado yimloch nora. Adon Olam, ve'hu haya, ve'hu hoveh, ve'hu yihyeh b'tifara. Adon Olam, ve'hu echad, ve'ein sheni, להמשילו, להחבירה. אדון עולם, בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמזרח. אדון עולם,
Adon Olam,
אדון עולם,
Hashem alach,
השם עולם,
b'terem
כל יציר נברא. אדון עולם,
le'ed nasa,
להן נעשה,
k'chefso kol,
כחפצו כל, azay melech shemo nikra. Adon Olam, ve'hu eini, v'chai goli, v'tzurchet li b'yom tzara. Adon Olam, ve'hu nifsi, u'manafsi, v'narkosi b'yom ekra. Adon Olam, ve'ya'ato, af kidruchi, ve'et vishan ve'ya'ira. Adon Olam, ve'imruchi, ve'biyati, Adonai li ve'lo ira. Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Hashem alach,
Hashem alach,
b'terem
kol yetzir nivra. Adon Olam,
le'ed nasa,
le'en nasa,
k'chefso kol,
k'chefso kol,
azay melech
shemo nikra. Adon Olam. And a special blessing to send us on our way to our children. May you be like Abraham and Sarah, who had the courage to believe in a God they could not see. May you be like Rebecca, who was kind to all people and animals. May you be like Jacob, who understood that God could be found everywhere. May you be like Miriam, whose love made her a protector. May you be like Moses, who wasn't afraid to ask for help. May all our prayers be sweet to you, God, and may this year be a good one. And to our adults, who very rarely get the chance to be blessed. Just as you bless and keep your children, may there be today a blessing for you. May you always have patience for silliness and teasing. May you always have hugs, both for giving and receiving. May you always feel pride when you see your children grow. We are lucky to love you. If the world was filled with love, what a fantastic place it would be. And so as we sing our final song today, we encourage you to put on your screens, to play your instruments one last time with us, and to fill this world and this screen with so much love that we break the internet once again. Gama Chatima Tova, everyone. May this year be a good one for all of us, and may we be for a good signing. We are going to unmute you all now and allow you to wish Gama Chatima Tova to one another. From us in the Beit Tefillah, have a good year, have an easy rest of your day,
And please join us throughout the afternoon at all the things that are aimed at your families. There are videos on YouTube with things for you to engage with. And we also have an immersive telling of the story of Jonah at 4:15. So please join us for this kind of treasure hunt that's going to send you around the house, where we're going to need your hands and things you can find to have the best time together. Gama Chatima Tova, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye. Bye.